Well, that's right, Mangla. We have with us Mr. Manian, who's joining in. Well, Mr. Manian, thanks a lot for joining in. Appreciate you coming to celebrate this big occasion with us. Well, first, just take us through the association with CNBC TV18. You've been a friend and, in fact, a supporter as well. Give us your quick, run us down the memory lane.
No, I think CNBC is absolutely the pioneer in business news and business TV. And I've been associated with CNBC for maybe 20 years now, out of the 25 years that you have had. So I think it has been a fabulous journey. You almost have defined what business TV journalism is all about.
Well, we thank you, sir, for that, and we thank you for being a friend as well. But, there's been this clamor of maybe, in fact, there is a lot of pain in the system as of now. Do you think it will settle down in the near term, or do you think there is more in store? Because the fear is that this could escalate from here on.
You mean to say the slowdown in the economy?
The slowdown in the economy, as well as the quality of the books as of now, particularly with the smaller lenders.
Right. So two parts to that. I mean, if you look at the economy in general, I think, last quarter has been slow. That, of course, the numbers are out. But as the finance minister said, it may not be structural. It may be a cycle that we are going through. I think overall things seem to be reasonably good. So I would say the medium-term India story still remains positive, while we might go through a few quarters of pain. But with this new release of liquidity into the system in the last policy by RBI, I do expect things to get slightly better on liquidity front and therefore interest rate front.
Okay. All right.
Coming to the pain in the books that you talked about, I think the pain, if you look at it, it is a very pain coming out of unsecured lending and the small ticket unsecured lending side. So it's not a generic thing. The pain is not generically true across the books of the banks. It's a particular niche that is going through some difficulty. And the reasons have been multiple, right? Different states have had different events which have caused that pain. So I would say, again, these are not a broad economy kind of pain. I am reasonably hopeful that these will last a quarter or two more, not more than that.
Well, that's very, very encouraging to hear, because the fear was that maybe we're in for a prolonged period of pain, but you don't seem to be sounding so pessimistic, which is good news. But you briefly spoke about what the RBI governor did as well. And they've given us that token 50 basis point CRR cut. What are your expectations from the RBI governor and from the RBI in 2025?
No, I think the narrative is quite clear, right? Of course, there is a RBI is trying to juggle between the inflation part of it and the growth part of it. I think they have to play the balancing act on that. And that also means the growth part requires rates to drop, and the inflation part requires rates to be kept at where they are. So I think it is going to be a phase where RBI will be watchful about watching both these things together. And I think the CRR cut was a good intermediate kind of thing. It will have a downward rate impact. But at the same time, the policy rates has not gone down. So I think RBI is trying to balance the two. And I think that balancing act will continue for a couple of more policies, I think.
Well, Mr. Manian, for me, what was encouraging was that he said that growth, the pain has bottomed out in quarter two, and maybe inflation will cool off in the next quarter or so. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on CNBC TV18, and wish you a good evening ahead.
Thank you.
Well, that was Mr. Manian telling us that maybe in the near term we could see some pain in the books, but that's not a structural problem, and hopefully things should improve from here on. He also gave us a brief insight into his expectations for 2025 with some rate increase.